Hello and welcome to the Rangers Rabble. My name's Mark and I am joined today by Stuart. How we doing, Stuart? You all right?
Yeah, brilliant.
Lee, how we doing, Lee?
I'm not bad, mate. It's good to see your faces again.
It seems like we were only doing this about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago.
Feels like 15 minutes, mate. 15 minutes to me.
So the final score today was Rangers 4, Ross County 1. That was our final league game of the season. Quite a professional performance. We'll go through the game bit by bit. Firstly, Stu, how would you feel about the game? What was your thoughts on it? Your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I thought we were very professional tonight. First 25, 30 minutes, the passing and the movement, it was just unbelievable. And I don't care. You put that passing and movement against any team, and you're gonna get success. It was just overall a fantastic performance, professional performance. We 10-minute spell where we didn't get everything going our way, but yeah, overall I'm happy with that. Okay.
Spot on. Lee, Stuart says there, great performance. What's your thoughts? You're going to echo that?
Aye, mate, completely agree. Especially that first 25 minutes. I was just saying there before we came on that'll be by and large the team that plays against Frankfurt in the final. And you can't take confidence for like the way we played in that first 25 minutes against them. The passing was slick. Everybody seemed what they knew what their job was. Everyone seemed switched on. And then game petered out a wee bit, but overall, mate, a total professional performance phase, and it was good watch.
Yeah, we're going to get into the game a wee bit. Just for guys that are listening in the comments there, you keep your comments coming in, and if you could like and share and subscribe, that everything helps build the rabble. So, as I said, getting into the game, as you said, we started pretty well. We started good. We looked sharp. And I said to you boys off air just before we come on there, we actually looked fresh. I mean, I don't even know if that's possible. Some of the boys out there have played 60 odd games already this season, and we looked fresh. We looked sharp. For an end of season, Lee, looked as if there was plenty of legs, plenty of running, crisp passing. It just looked as if everything clicked. But as I said, Stu, as Lee said, Stu, the it's pretty much going to be the team that's maybe going to play the final. What's your thoughts? Would you make any changes to that team for the final?
Yeah, I think like we all agreed earlier on for the pre-pod. I think the only change would probably be Ryan Jack in place of Lowry. But I think overall that starting 10 with Jack will be the team that starts in the final. As you say, we just where the hell do they get the energy from? Where is the fitness levels? I know under Gerard, he got that fitness level up to a really good standard, but this looks like the start of our season. The way some of these players are coming out the blocks, it's just unbelievable.
I thought that as well. Fitness levels were amazingly, weren't they? I mean, some of these boys look superhuman, like Tav and Goldson's frightening, isn't it?
Well, I think we all know what it's down to, mate. It's a good old secret caffeine that we've apparently been taking, so that's why we're
performance
so good, mate.
Enhancing coffee.
So, I mean,
sorry, it's testament to the club just in general, mate. Like everything's so well run behind the scenes. Like the players' conditioning, players' nutrition. You can tell that that's something that's been worked on. I'm pretty sure that's one thing Gerard kind of pointed out when he came in. It was like that whole side of our game was lacking, and he made an effort to try and improve that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of continued under Diallo. So I think, I know what you're saying, it was the second last game of the season, and these boys are playing like first game of pre-season, even first game of pre-season, first game of the actual season. It's mental. It's absolutely mental, the actual performance levels they've got.
Was that Aribo's 65th game of the season?
I think it's roughly about that.
Mental. And I tell you what, he did look jaded the last 2-3 games, but he came out. He was like a spring chicken today. Some of the runs he was making and the into areas and the movement off the ball was just sublime.
It'll probably be as well. Like, the players will still have a spring in their step, mate, for getting to the final.
Aye.
Like that counts for a lot. See, when you've just got momentum and you've got that, like you're enjoying playing your football, it counts for a lot as well in these situations.
Yeah. I mean, for me, they just, as I said, it's almost like Energizer Bunny. I mean, Stu, does it look as if they were all playing for a place in the final? Is that the I'm out to show that I'm better than everybody else? Was that the case tonight?
Yeah. I think it goes a long way. I think it's not just for the final on Wednesday. Going about the Scottish Cup final as well. You've got 2 finals to play for, so there's putting yourself in the window in the manager's eye. I don't really feel there was a performance under par tonight. And I know a lot of people have been on Scotty Wright's back and all that, but I thought he put in a good performance the first half. Fair enough, he got given a bad ball in the second half in the build-up to their goal. But yeah, on the whole, Scotty Wright looked sharp tonight.
We'll come to that, Stuart.
Yeah.
So, Lee, do you think they should have kept 11 men on the park?
Mate, it baffles me how they kept 11 on the park. Like, fair enough, in like quick glance when you see the one on Wright, you don't catch it as much. But that replay, mate, the boy's just pretty much jumped in his foot.
Yeah.
It's you wonder like what actually constitutes getting a red card in this league if that's not it. It's just that one for the both of me. Like the second one as well, again, but that first one for me was sheer deliberate, mate. Like the second one's more cynical, I'd say, but it's still a bad tackle. But that first one was just ridiculous.
As I say, we'll come to it. So we'll go through the game a wee bit. Obviously, I've took a couple of wee notes there, but I thought we started bright. As we've said, knocked the ball about well. One thing that gripped me in the opening probably 10 minutes was the amount of shots that we were hitting. We were hitting shots for all over the place, weren't we? It was as if it was just a shoot on sight. As I said, Lindstrom had a couple of shots early doors. Lowry, I don't know. Lowry must have 10 shots the whole game. But we were knocking it about well. Really, as I said, we were on top for the word go. And what kind of gripped me was Lowry's range of passing in the opening kind of maybe 10-15 minutes. Lowry's passing was outstanding moving forward, wasn't it?
It's just like we were talking about, mate, in the pre-game show. It's like the confidence that he's got to try and play these passes. It was very clear straight from the start that this was a boy that felt comfortable and like knew that he deserved a place in the first 11. And it helped the fact that the whole team was playing good, but like I think that shows that he's ready for the first team, because if you can like play as well while the rest of the team are playing well, like you can fit into that free flowing kind of like attacking move we were doing, and he done that perfectly.
Yeah. So you think he's maybe Stuart Jenkins maybe gave Gio a wee bit of headache for moving forward, maybe the next couple of games, maybe even the final?
Yeah, possibly. Because every time young Lowry got the ball, there was none of this sideways passing. It was always going forward. He was always trying to find a player in space or put a ball into space for a player to run into. And it was really refreshing to see. It was really refreshing to see a player, especially a midfielder, playing like that. Instead of the, as I call it, the crab system where it goes side to side. Yeah. He wasn't afraid to take that chance and put a wee zip ball in a bit of space to Ryan Kent or a wee bit into Aribo, or just a quick 1-2. It was really, really refreshing to see from a young lad. And as we said in the pre-show, that Lee was saying, that he's not afraid to actually take that little chance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that you touched on Aribo earlier. I think Big Aribo playing as that false nine was outstanding. I think that his hold up playing that was amazing tonight. His touch, nothing, everything that went to him stuck. As I said, these wee patterns, wee 1-2s in the box and stuff like that was outstanding as well. As I said, what's your thoughts, Lee, on Aribo as a false nine?
The best way I can describe it, mate, is I remember when the team for Leipzig came out at home. I'll be honest, I was like, I feel our chances diminished massively because Roof never made it, because you're thinking we need that like out and out striker, and then his performance that night, and then again his performance tonight in that false nine role. I could happily go into the final against Frankfurt, and I would trust him to play that role well. He's like the perfect combination, mate. I feel between Morelos and Roof in that role. He'll make the wee dart and runs in at the box. He can also hold it up and bring others into play, and that could be massive for us in the final when we're needing to get players pushed up the park. And I think it's an experiment by Gio that's worked really well.
Yeah, I thought our movement was terrific up front, Stuart. It was the wee patterns of play, intricate 1-2s and stuff like that. It really worked, and the rotation was brilliant as well.
Yeah, and I thought with the three that were up front, I know Wright scored. I thought Aribo was unlucky to score. I thought Kent was unlucky to score. I thought Lowry, he got blocked twice and the keeper pulled off a great save. It was just between the four of them. Did it appear to you that they played like a wee diamond formation at the front?
Yeah,
and it was just there was
a lot
passing going about and then creating that space for each other. Reiterating what Lee said, I've got going into both finals, I would have no qualms about playing the formation that we are at the moment.
Yeah, well, we might need to, as I said, no Roof again, Lee. So, as we spoke about it in a pre-match show as well, that it's maybe not going to be that big a miss. Looking at that, as I said, looking at that first half, it really we might not miss him at all, or Morelos.
No, and it's weird saying that because I remember when Ruth and Ramsey were out injured, you were like, I would happily give up Ramsey, like coming back to fitness to get Ruth, because you're like, oh, Aribo can play the position that Ramsey can play, and now you're saying the exact same about Aribo for Ruth. Like it's mental, like the versatility that he's shown in these couple of games, and like we were saying, I don't feel like I'd worry at all about winning any of these two finals if we had to play that formation, because obviously they've worked in that, no, even just on the pitch, like in training, and Aribo's clearly suited to a position like that, so it's good to see.
Yeah, really good. So back to the game, as I said, played really well right up to the 12th minute. 12th minute, corner to Rangers, great ball in. Golson flicks it on, and Wright's in there at the back post to tap it in. So was Golson trying to score, or do you think he was trying to touch it on?
Oh, don't go wrong. I think he was trying to score, but the anticipation from Wright, obviously that came from the training pictures at the same time as well when corners have been swung in. But the anticipation, just to be there at the right place at the right time, knowing that corner could either score that or glance it, and then just bang. And I think that'll give Scotty Wright a lot of confidence.
Yeah. So that's his 7th goal of the season. He's just creeping in the back door here. Do you think he's playing himself into a slot in the final?
I probably wouldn't start him in the final if I could have choice of other people, but mate, his performances, especially the last couple, there's more good than bad, which is a step in the right direction. Scott Wright was a player for me who is far too consistent. You would have 1 game good, 2 games bad, and then 2 games good, maybe 1 game bad. But the last couple, he's shown a consistency, which is good for us, because if you want to be successful at Rangers, you can't just do it in flashes. You have to be a consistent player. And it's good to see that he's starting that on that corner routine. You can tell that he's picking up what Gio's putting down in training, because that's a routine that you've seen it all the time. Like Aribo runs to the front post and flicks it on, and the player's there. And even if Golson's try to score in that sense, the awareness of like Wright to get into that position, just in case it does happen, like it's great to see.
Yeah, I think that consistency is probably an issue with Wright, Stuart, but he seems to be hitting a wee vein of form just at the right time, do you think?
Yeah, could possibly be, and that could mainly be because getting minutes on the pitch. Not just being in the training environment, he's on the pitch, and it's actually happening for him for a change. The amount of times earlier on this season where his decision making at certain times has been poor. Now that could be just maybe a little bit of lack of confidence, or it could be that Gio and his backing team have worked alongside him to say, right, when you're in these kind of situations, these are the things that are either you're going to do or just be natural. But it could. I think it's a combination of what the backing team have done with him in the training environment, but also minutes on the pitch. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of fruition. Now, I've been one of Scott Wright's biggest critics. I have on a few podcasts. And if he comes good, I will more than happily eat my words.
Yeah, well, as I said, it's one of these things that I think that he's obviously coming good at the right time, and as I said, he's just one of these. I think he's one of the ones that's going to give Gio a bit of a headache. So moving back to the game, Lee. So after the goal, as I said, it was all Rangers. I think at one point with 82% possession. During that time, there was a couple of penalty shouts. Was any of them a penalty for you?
Do you know what, mate? I'm probably going to say no. I'd say the referee got them spot on like times of the penalty decisions. The Tavernier one's an absolute stonewaller.
Yeah.
It's just he's clever with his touch, like the way that like anticipates the challenge coming in and then just flicks the ball away. That's a stonewaller. The rest, I wouldn't say so, mate. I'd say probably no enough in it to be given. I'd be annoyed if it get given against us. So
yeah, I think
they were giving against us.
Tav's one is clever the way he lets it just roll across his body, and he gets clipped. So that's, as I said, 27th minute. That famous words, penalty Rangers. It's a lovely 1-2 with Lowry, and then Tav pulled down. So I said we said it was clever with what he done, but definitely for me, Stonewall penalty. You're the same, Stuart, Stonewall.
Yeah, absolute Stonewall penalty. But you know, I love Tav the way he takes the penalties, and
it gives me the fear.
I know. Fear. I'm just going to reiterate that, Mark. That 2-step run up gives me the fear all the time, but I'm confident when he does it because it gives the keeper less of an idea where he's going to. I nearly swore there, where he's going to nearly put the ball.
So is that not like a new run up that he does as well? Like I swear he used to never do that.
I don't know, half the time I can't watch his run up because it's see this wee 2-step thing. So anyway, just there's a good question for you. Who would you start up front Europa League final? Stuart, we'll go with you.
Right. Okay, I'll say it now. It'll be Kent, Aribo, Wright.
What about yourself, Lee?
It's dependent on who's fit. Like I feel actually no. It's, do you know what? Because Roof hasn't started or hasn't even been involved in the last 2 squads, I think it will be Ken Aribo Wright as well with Roof on the bench if he does make it. I don't think he'll maybe chuck him in straight for the off if he's not made the squad the last 2 games. So I'd like to be different from you, Stuart, but I agree. I probably agree with you.
Great minds think alike.
For me,
although I will say, sorry, you go, mate.
No, carry on.
I was going to say, I will say, Diallo is really grown on me. Diallo is really grown on me. Like, is it one of those ones you chuck him into a final and run the risk of doing what he did against Celtic? But he's just, even just like his celebration when he's sitting smiling at the fans, that's a boy who now gets it. He now gets what it is to play for Rangers.
I very nearly said it, because I thought when he came on, I just thought that was a young boy who just wanted to play football at that tonight.
Aye,
and it showed.
Well, I'm going to go. So my front three would be Aribo false 9, Kent in the left, and I would say Ramsey, right? But I'm going to caveat that by saying that if Ramsey gets minutes at the weekend, maybe gets half a game. If he starts and they take him off at half time, I think he's going to start. If not, if he doesn't get any minutes, I think he will go with Wright. I think he's probably right. I think he will go with Wright. I think he'll go with pace and endeavour of Wright. I think that's probably the way to go.
My ideal front three would be Colin Steen, Willie Johnston, and Ali McCoist.
Yeah. But so as I said, moving on. So obviously the penalty for Tav puts that away quite easily. As I said, inch perfect. Goalie guesses the right way, but Tav's just accuracy. And I know we talk about giving the fear, but do you know what? This penalty run up, it works. It's something that as I say, gives me the fear. But I'm old school. I'm a put the ball down and leather it type of guy. But this wee stupid run up things come into the game over the last few years, maybe 10, 15 years, and Tav's brilliant at it. I mean, the amount of goals Tav's scored for the penalty spot's absolutely phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, he's missed the odd one, but you can't fault his goal scoring writer. So, Stuart, that was his 18th goal of the season for a right back.
I know. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
There are strikers in the top 3-4 teams I haven't got that total.
Yeah.
And this is from a defender.
It's frightening. Absolutely frightening. I know we've said it over and over again. But I think now we've got to put him in that legendary bracket. Lee, what do you think? Is he got to go into that for you?
I think I'm swaying more towards yes. Like, to do what we done last season alone, like unbeaten season, the title that, we craved, mate, since 2012. Like, for 10 years, all we did was dream of that title. And he was there for, 7 years of the cup coming back up. Just the contribution with his goals and assists. I would probably agree, yeah, he's already in it. I don't think there's going to be any doubt from anybody's mind. If we win on Wednesday, I think he'll be one of the greatest captains that I've ever seen at Rangers if he really win this on Wednesday. So,
yeah, as I said, what about you, Stuart? Is he in the Legends bracket for you?
He will be in the legend bracket. But I reiterate something. I was a conversation I had with Wolf the other night. I wouldn't like to see him go in the Hall of Fame until he actually finishes his footballing career, because I wouldn't want any footballer coming back to Ibrox being on that Hall of Fame and being in opposition, if that makes sense. But he's from when he joined us. Was it the second division when he joined us?
Aye, Warburton, one of Warburton's first signings.
Yeah, and to where he is now, it's just been the rise of a legend, and he will be a legend. He was captain of the 55 team, unbeaten in the season.
For me, I mean, if he goes on and lifts this Europa Cup, then that's just. I think it's. I don't think anybody can question that. It's just. They said we've lacked Slirical from over the last 6 months. We've started to really appreciate him. A lot of people gave him stick over the years, and I just think it's not as if it's a one season wonder where he scored this amount of goals. He's done it season after season after season. And as I said, for me, I can't speak highly enough of the boy. It's just outstanding.
What's that now? About 104, 105 goals and 302 or 303 appearances.
It's just
there's top class strikers don't do that for a team.
No,
I think he's one of those players that falls into that bracket that some people are only going to appreciate him once he's left. Yeah. You're not going to realise it until we've got a new right back in his position who's not scoring over 15 goals a season or assisting the exact same number. It'll be a player that once he leaves will be dearly missed.
I'd just like to comment on the post you put, that you just put up there about Derek. Derek said he would need to lift the Europa and the Scottish Cup to stand aside John Gregg. Got to remember, John Gregg back in the 60s was part of a really successful Rangers team that was unfortunate in a UEFA Cup final in '61. Was it Cup Winners' Cup again in '67, but then part of a Cup Winners' Cup in '72. To compare what the team that John Gregg was in compared to the team that Tav's been in over the last 9 years is chalk and cheese. And I'm not going to denigrate the '72 team. Barker Bears, to me, was one of the greatest teams that will ever be at Rangers. But from where we were 9 years ago, when we were lifting the cup, lifting the league, to where we are now, it's chalk and cheese. And this would be, in my opinion, one of the most significant parts ever for Rangers if we lift that Europa League on Wednesday night. Yeah,
I think it's massive. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And I know we're here to try and do reaction for this game, and it just all I want to talk about is Wednesday night. And I think probably everybody listening and you guys, that's all you want to do as well. It's going to be massive, and I'm sure we're going to do more pods to the build up of that as well. I dare say there's talk of something, maybe even.
But I'm not decrying what Derek said, because John Gregg, greatest ever Ranger, and it's been proven that.
And the kind of opposite side of that coin as well, that you could say that because he's been in lesser teams and he's done it, that maybe he should be in that kind of legend bracket as well. But we'll move on back to the game. As I said, back to the game. We're meant to be doing a reaction show. It's as I said, our heads are all over the place. I think everybody's the same. It's one of these ones that we just can't wait till Wednesday. It's just can't come quick enough. So just rounding out the first half there, I just wanted to talk about there was a wee bit of movement and a great shot for Lowry that it was quite sublime. He just cut into the box and cut back and kind of almost had a shot with outside his boot. Lovely wee touch, but he seems to just have that in his locker, the boy. I know we're back on Lowry again because he's special, but I just thought that really impressed me, and I thought I just had to mention it. As I said, we're trying. There's heaps to get through. I'm conscious of the time, so moving on. So half time comes. Couple of substitutions: Diallo for Aribo and Balogun for Barisic. Now, Barisic took a bit of sore one. and he was hobbling a bit. I did write a wee note there about. I thought Barisic in the first half. I thought he was really, really good. I thought it was very impressive. Lee, what's your thoughts on Barisic? Is he? I mean, obviously he's hobbled off. Now, is that a concern now because he's back playing the way we know he can play?
I think it's a concern for a couple of reasons, mate. From Barisic himself, like you're saying, first half I thought he was really good. Like his defending especially was brilliant. Like that boy Humbo, I think went at him a couple of times and he's not lunged in once to try and get the ball. He's jockeyed, he's waited for his moment and then took the ball off him. In terms of like the entire team, if Barisic is injured, then you're needing to play Bassey at left back. And I think Bassey over the last few weeks is showing like how immense he is at centre back beside Goldson. I think it kind of messes with the team a wee bit in that sense. Don't get me wrong, Bassey again, like second half was fantastic. I think Bassey will just be fantastic anywhere he plays now. I think we could put him up front in the final and he would do well.
I think it just looks like a monster, big Bassey, doesn't he?
It's ridiculous. Like for a boy who was like that stat that I put in the chat earlier, 6 games that he started last season, 44 already this season. That's testament to how far he's came, and he's just brilliant. So, but on Barisic, I'm hoping just because of the kind of game it was a wee precaution. There's no need to keep him on the pitch in a game like that. Second that he feels anything, get him off, get him ice on it, whatever, and get him ready for the final.
Yeah, I mean, Stuart, a few weeks back, Bassey was not even in my thoughts. Barisic was not even in my thoughts. Now all of a sudden, we're thinking it might be a miss if he's injured and misses this cup final.
Yeah, I think the coming of age with Barisic again was the game against Hibs at Ibrox. He started off very poorly when he played that game, but then something seemed to click, and he got his confidence back. It was just like somebody had just flicked a switch. He got his confidence back, and ever since then, that was the Barisic of last season. He was playing with confidence. I think the injury he got towards the end of last season, and then when he got himself fit and played in the Euros, that knocked him back and knocked his confidence. Because he wasn't getting the games for Croatia like he should have been getting. I think it was wrong for them to actually pick him in the squad. I think they should have just let him have his summer to fully rebuild himself and then come back like he was. But it's just been like chalk and cheese from the first half of the season to the second half of the season. It's been chalk and cheese with Barisic. He looks like he's enjoying his football again. Yeah. Really enjoying his football. And hopefully it's just been taken off as a precaution and he hasn't picked up a niggle.
Fingers crossed. As I said, back to the game. I thought Big Balogun, when he came on, he looked right up for it, didn't he? He looked as if he was. I'm trying to stake a claim for this. I'm starting to stake a claim for the final. And I think probably it was got a bit of the Bugera about him, wasn't he? Just running forward and try to beat people. And but as I said, I thought he started well. On the 57th minute, that tackle on Wright, terrible. Lee, absolutely abysmal. I don't know why that boy stayed in the park.
I mean, we're talking about the need for VAR, mate. I mean, we've been calling for it for how long? Like, that's the perfect example. There's no intention from that boy to play football in that sense. The ball's long gone and he's just jumped on the foot of Wright. You wonder if it goes through the minds of players when they do this, like, because he went out to endanger another player. It's probably one of the most stonewall reds that I've seen this season, to be honest. It's just the complete intention just to injure Wright in that sense was obvious from the way that he done it. I'm not one that likes to bleat on about referees, but how has he missed that? Like, it's no hard to watch somebody 2-foot you, like, especially when you're doing it from a jumping position. It's the sooner we get VAR, mate, the better.
Yeah, Stuart, that was a shocking tackle, wasn't it? Absolutely shocking.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the only one. I'm like Lee. I don't like highlighting about how poor the refereeing is in Scotland, but I do agree with we get refereed differently than other teams. But yeah, as Lee said, it wasn't just him catching the top of the foot; it was the trailing leg as well. It was a scissor challenge.
Yeah,
that could have caused quite a bad injury.
Yeah, well, you seen the lower part of his leg buckle, didn't you? Yeah. That could have been proper. That could have been bad, really, really bad. As I said, it baffles me how he stayed on the park. In the 64th minute, again another one tackling Sakala, terrible tackle again. Almost a very, very similar tackle, late, no intention of playing the ball. That scissor motion again. I know we bleat on about refereeing, and I don't think it's bias. I just think it's incompetency, to be perfectly honest with you. I really don't. I just think they're that incompetent. It's just as simple as that. Like Lee said, I think that VAR needs to come in and hopefully help them. But as I said, we've kicked this referee thing to death. It's not going to work until VAR comes in. And as I said, we've already had that conversation with VAR coming in halfway through a season and stuff like that. It's lunacy, absolute lunacy. But it is what it is. We are where we are, and we know that, as I said, the refereeing is incompetent, and we just need to accept it. Although we don't like it, we just need to accept it and move on. As I said, we just hope that Wright's another one that possibly knock. Fingers crossed, he's going to be all right for the games moving forward, for Wednesday as well, because he's a good option. He's starting to come into form just at the right time. So, as I said, hopefully that'll moving forward. He's all right, and Barisic is all right, and we've got at least a bit of a squad to choose from. Moving on, so 71 minutes, they score. And it's a great goal, to be fair to the boy Lee. The boy takes it well, but we stood off. Should we have defended that better? We stood off him and never really pressed him. Gave him a chance to take a shot. Lee, as I said, should we have done better there?
We probably should have, mate. I won't be overly critical of the defending, because at the end of the day, it's a wonder strike for the boy. I'm not going to take anything away from him. It was a great goal. Just a bit of slack play, mate. That's all it was. Like, Wright's tried to do a wee bit too much here. Balogun's, you probably could say he stood off a bit, but other than that, I would just kind of put that down to the technique of the boy. It's a great goal. So, yeah.
As I said, the boy took it well, really, really well. A couple of boys there obviously talking about the refereeing and putting a point across. So, as I said, we had a wee 10-minute spell there where we kind of a wee bit disjointed shut. But we get back into it, and another sub, obviously Wright, took him off. Hopefully that was precautionary. Artfield on. 81st minute, Sakala header inside the box. He done really well to get across the face of his man, and that's something that I've kind of been critical of Sakala in the past about. His movement in the box is it should be better, but he done really well to get across the face of his man and header that in with diving header. Ali McCoy's best, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he put his head in there where it was liable to get hit.
Yeah,
and that just showed you the mentality that he's got. But yeah, it was a good quick run across the defender to get there before any injury, and more importantly, the defender never got there. So, and it came off his napper like a bullet. It really did. It came off his napper like a bullet.
So Lee, Sakala, talking about Sakala, from hero to zero, about a minute and a half later. What was going on there? What happened?
Mate, even themselves just looking at that shot, it's fair enough. It's a like end of season game and they can laugh about it, but Jesus Christ, like great touch, gets away from the boy, and it's, mate, my word, I don't think I've ever seen somebody shank a shot as high in my life. It was, I mean, do you know what? Diallo's done it like a couple of minutes earlier as well, but geez, that's Sakala all over, isn't it? Like brilliant header, great goal, great play to cut in, and then just the composure. It's Sakala's composure, mate, that is lacking, and that's what frustrates us about him, because you can see that, like, he does stick his head in there. He is a brave player. I think he's quite good with his head. There was a goal earlier on in the season where these boys let like a salmon. Honestly, it was brilliant. Just I don't know how to describe Sakala, mate. He does something amazing, and then he does that, and you're just like, what are you? Like, what honestly are you?
Do you think he might have been auditioning for the Zambian rugby team?
As I said, he's one of them ones. I think the problem is that smile, we all love the wee guy, and we'll get to a stage if he doesn't. I think that if he doesn't improve, I think he'll get to the stage where he's smiling, he's being a nice guy. He's probably going to wear a wee bit thin. To be fair, do you know what? His goals to games ratio is pretty good. It's probably better than a lot of them in the team, and I think that with a wee bit of coaching, I think it could be absolutely brilliant. As I say, the wee man's got everything. I think somebody needs to show him how to slow down and kind of relax. I don't know whether he needs to go and do breathing techniques or something to try and get me calmed down in front of goal. But I think that when he does think about it, but it does think about it, it happens. But I think that if he gets too much time and too much to think about it, it's very hit and a miss. It reminds me a wee bit like Nacho Novo, Stuart.
Yeah, when he was back in the early days when we signed him.
Yeah. So I don't know. As I said, I think he's a good squad player. Do
you know who I think would be a fantastic coach? And I don't think it's ever going to happen just recently after what's happened. But I always remember when Mark Hateley, I know Mark personally, and when you sit and listen to the way that his game got broken down in Italy, and then he was taught by a Norwegian lad. I can't remember who was. He was assistant manager at Inter Milan at the time, and they broke his game down. And when Mark Hateley joined Rangers, he could play on the shoulder of a defender and then turn. Mark Hateley would be the perfect coach for Sakala to learn from, if it could be.
Yeah, you would think, but you would think a player like Roy Mackay would be the man as well. I mean, he's already there, and he's tried and tested in Europe. He was a fantastic centre forward. So, I mean, if anybody can show him how to do it, surely it must be Roy Mackay. But as I said, it's one of these things. So, is it moving on anyway? So, 89th minute, we think it's all over. We're already 3-1 up, and Ahmed scores at the back post. Big Bassey, great tenacity. 89th minute, still fired up, still trying to go forward, still fighting for everything. That's what I love about the big man. As I said, the big man's just a machine, isn't he? I mean, absolute machine. But he fights for the ball, fights for scraps, gets the ball, wins it, cuts it across the face of goal, and it's a tap in for Ahmed.
Yeah,
great goal. So Lee, I mean, we've already spoke about who's talking ourselves into a game. The wee man, Diallo. I don't know. I think he's coming on to a game just at the right time. What's your thoughts?
Mate, it's one of those ones. We're talking about striker options if Roof doesn't make it. I mean, he's the number 9 for a reason, isn't he, Diallo?
Yes.
Could he be an option in that sense? Because we've seen it already a couple of times. Like the goal he scored in his debut against St Johnstone, it's like that late run at the back post. Like that could be crucial, mate. If we had to turn to Diallo, like in the final, if we're needing a goal, that could be quite crucial to like the way that we want to play, because we are a team where Bassey or whoever was playing at left back, Bassey or Barisic, will put balls across the box, and that seems to be where he thrives. And especially now that he's getting the confidence, it could be, mate. It could be a good option. That's the best thing about what I feel going into this final is we can sit here and speak about how we've got a good few options for certain positions.
Yeah.
And then so
I tell you what, when just following on from Ahmad there, that left foot, right foot shimmy in the box, and when he put the shot he had went over the bar, but the quickness of his feet there was just left foot, right foot into a little bit of space, and then he had the shot and go. Didn't work out, but by God, I sat there and went, wow.
Yeah, I think he's got bags of talent. You can see why they've paid all sorts of money for the boy. As I said, we spoke about it in a pre-match about the possibility of maybe us getting him again next season. We obviously spoke about the fact that he's kind of got that Rangers-itis, and he's obviously now knows what the club's about. Starts to love the fans, posting about how he loves the club and stuff like that. So there might be a possibility, and I think maybe another season you might see the absolute best of him. I don't think he's going to get a game from Man United when he gets there. So it's maybe worth a shout. It's one of these ones that it might just work, and as long as it's not stupid money, as I don't want millions to take him for another year, then I don't see any problem with us taking a punt on him. I think he's definitely got something, and I think he's definitely progressing. So why not? It might be worth a punt. So just Lee, moving forward and looking at the kind of bigger picture of the game there. This kind of false nine role seemed to suit us, especially in the first half. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that we can go on next week on Wednesday, and use this false nine to our advantage?
I think there's a good chance, mate, that we might need to, regardless, because obviously Roof's not really looking like he could be fit. But like we've already said it, mate, I would have no qualms with us playing that false nine, because Aribo's shown that every time he's played the position that it works. Like I would have no issues playing it. I would definitely think that Aribo could play that job in the final.
What's your thoughts, Stuart? I think we look as if we're a better side playing the false nine. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Lisa said, and yourself, Mark. I think the longer that we've actually played the system, the better we've got at the system, and it's been enforced on us. And if it's working, why change it? If it's working, why change it?
Yeah,
we might have further options coming up for Wednesday next week, but yeah, it's if that system's working, and it has done the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
For me, it's the fluidity of it, because Aribo's not a striker, so it's the fact that you do see it in the games where all the players are interchanging. It's like a great manager, Craig Levine, once adopted the 4-6-0. It feels like that, in a sense. It's an attacking 4-6-0 where you're getting all the attacking players just interchanging, and I think it works really well.
Don't ever mention Craig Levine ever again, please.
I remember watching that game in a pub in Spain, just thinking,
please don't.
But do you think that false nine position that we've been playing plays into our hands, not Frankfurt's hands? Because
I think so.
They'd be expecting to be playing against a number 9 or a striker of some form. Yeah. With us having, as Lee said, the fluidity where we can chop and change, playing that little diamond that we played at some point tonight, where it really did work for us in the first 25 minutes. It really did work for us. I think that falls into our hands rather than Frankfurt's hands, because
I think that kind of false nine role, I think, like Lee said, I wrote, actually made a note of it saying that fluidity, and I thought that when we played that tonight, at some points we looked very, very fluid, and we looked as if our rotation was really good, and it looked as if we'd worked on it. Definitely looked as if we'd worked on it in training, and how the movement would work when Aribo dropped deep and the other two interchanged and linked up and stuff like that. So for me, with the personnel that we've got, and do you know what? I think that's testament to Gio as well. I think that Gio, his tactical nous is shown. I think that he's took this team that were a very good side under Gerrard, and I think that they've evolved, and they've become more tactically aware over the last probably 6 months, five months under Gio, and I think that's testament to Gio, because what he's done is he's took good players in a good system, and he's let's face it, he's made them better players because they're tactically better now. So, as I said, when they're playing, they can change tactics at will, and they can change positions at will, and still look comfortable and still do well as they're moving forward. So, for me, you've got to hold your hands up and say that's Gio's makeup, and that's what he's done to this side. I think that moving forward, I think that suits us in Europe as well. I think that we pull defenders about when we play that. As long as we press high and we get in their faces, as soon as we win that ball back and start playing through the press, then we look dangerous, and we look dangerous every time we go. So, as I said, that's for me is the best thing about this, playing with this false nine. Don't get me wrong, I think we're a good side also with Morelos or Roof. Yeah. I think that the way we've adapted is, as I say, testament to Gio and the players, because the players are doing it for Gio. Gio's put a plan in place and they're executing it. So just for all the listeners, we're going to do man of the match poll. I'm going to ask you boys, so if you get me your man of the matches, I will I'll stick them up for you. As I said, if you let me know man of the matches, as I said again, if you can like, subscribe, share, and also comment as well, that would help us out a great deal. As one last thing I wanted to speak about, we've kind of not really touched on him at all tonight, is Lee Ramsey. Never got on a park. Is that a surprise to you that you never get any minutes?
A wee bit, because just like we were talking about earlier with the false nine formation that we played, especially the first 25 minutes, because I think that suits Ramsey to a T. We're talking about the fluidity. I mean, one of Ramsey's biggest strengths is the fact that he's late runs, the intelligence that he's got to make those runs. So, because you put him in your team to start the final if he's playing from the right, and I think that could work really well, especially in that formation. So, it was a wee bit of a surprise. So you don't really ever know what Gio's thinking with these subs. Like you can't ever guess who he's going to bring on. So if he doesn't start Saturday, I'll probably be a bit more confused why he never came on tonight. But if he does, then I'll be more understanding.
Hey guys, remember get your man of the matches in, and we'll get them up for you. Stuart, surprise Ramsey, never get any minutes at all. Sat on the bench. Yeah, it was the bench. Surely he's fat if he's on the bench.
Yeah, a little bit like Lee. I think if he come on, and even if it was just a 10-15 minute cameo, just to keep the legs going a little bit, because I do actually think that when it comes to if he is fit when it comes to the finals, I do think he will have a part to play. Especially if we have to play that false nine position, because he's played in a lot of teams where in that kind of format. He played in an Arsenal team where they had that format. And in Wales, he's played in a Welsh team in that kind of format. So yeah, it was a little bit surprising he never get any minutes on the pitch. But you never know. He might go out on Saturday against Hearts and play 60, 70 minutes.
As I said, just that one way CGM brings up there. Ramsey can't play 2 games in 4 days, which is probably right.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my thoughts on it. I think he's a fantastic player. I think it's one of these that he probably can. I think he's fitness wise. I think he's one of these players that needs to be kind of mollycoddled and wrapped in cotton wool, which is a shame because I don't think he's going to be here next season. I think he'll be elsewhere. The only reason I think he's probably going to stay with us is if he gets a pay-as-you-play type of contract, and I don't think I think he'll get a decent contract down south, whether it be in the Championship or whatever. Just in his name alone, I think he'll get good money in there. So, as I say, I think he's not going to be here long. But I think that if he gets game time on Saturday against Hearts, which I think for me, the Hearts game's pretty much. I mean, tonight was a dead rubber, but I think Hearts game's even more a dead rubber because I don't think anybody that's going to be playing on Wednesday night is going to be on that park. I think that's going to be just kids and substitutes and fringe players to try and get some minutes into their legs and stuff like that. But I think if Ramsey gets minutes there, I think it will just keep us all guessing if he's going to start on the Wednesday.
I think we're all guessing anyway.
I know, but
do you know what? Guessing regardless.
Yeah. Do you know what? As I said, it's not a bad thing that we can't all settle on a starting 11. And if we can't settle on a starting 11 and we're fans and we watch a week in, week out, Frankfurt will not be able to settle in a set 11. So it's a good thing to have. So, as I said, it keeps them guessing. It keeps us guessing, obviously, but as I said, it keeps us guessing as well. Any more last chance to get any more man of the matches in? I'm going to ask you boys. So, Lee, who was your man of the match?
It was a toss-up between Bassey and Tav for me. I'm going to go with Tav just because of his goal, and I don't know if it was 1 or 2 assists. I know he got 1 assist, but just for his contribution in that sense, I'm going to go with Tav.
Right, 1 for Tav. What about you, Stuart?
I was very close to Alan Simpson's man of the match when he said Lowry, but I think Bassey for me swings it because he was just phenomenal again tonight. Centre half and then wing back, and some of the runs he made as wing back, some of the runs he made as centre half were just as good. Yeah. I know Lowry was the sponsors man of the match, but for me, it was Bassey.
Yeah, I thought Lowry was very good tonight. I thought he kind of fell out of the game a wee bit when they put him kind of out wider on the left. I think he needs to be central. For me, my man of the match. Look, to be fair, there was a lot of good performances tonight. I was very, very pleased with the fact that it was our last home game of the season, and we looked good. We looked sharp. We looked surprisingly fresh. I know I'm saying it. I'm quite mesmerised with the fact that I'm saying that they looked fresh. But do you know what? That for me is moving forward. As I'm over the moon with that. But I think man of the match tonight. I think Tav's in with a shout. I think he played well. But I think I'll go with you, Stuart. I think Big Bassey was my man of the match. I think it was outstanding. I think the big man's just a machine. He's an absolute machine.
It's all right, Lee. Tav will get it in the final.
I thought I had a foul there for a second. He was swaying towards it.
Do you know, for me, I'm old. I keep saying it. I'm old school. I remember Ian Ferguson. I remember Stuart McCall. That's my type of player. See somebody that gets their sleeves rolled up and gets tore in. For me, Big Bassey is a kind of hybrid of a throwback that gets tore right in, and one of these new age footballers that's just a big athlete. That's just, the guy's huge, but he can run like a sprinter. It defies his body shape, how fast he can move, and how agile he is for such a big man. So for me, I can't see past him. I think his improvement over the last 6 months to a season, like you said at the start, there is six games last season and 44 this season. For me, I would be getting him tied into a massive wage, new contract, and I'd be putting all sorts of clauses in that it's 100 million or 50 million or whatever it is, some stupid amount of money as a buyout clause, because that boy's going to go places. That boy's only, 22, 21, 22? And for me, he's quickly becoming our biggest asset, and that's saying something with some of the players that we've got in a minute that are now looking at these guys are European finalists and potentially a European Cup winner, which takes their value to the stratosphere. Lots of them. You can imagine us winning this cup. What's Aribo worth? What's Kent worth? It just boggles your mind. But yeah, as I said, I'm looking forward to it. Just quickly, Lee, I'll get your thoughts on, I know we've got a game at the weekend, but I just want your thoughts on Wednesday. I want to know, what's your thoughts? Are we going to do it? Are we not going to do it? As I said, we spoke about it last time. We know you're going. Just give me your thoughts on how it's going to play out and what's going to happen.
I think we'll win, mate. I think we'll win. I don't want to sound too confident, but we've shown this season. Like, I remember I seen a stat earlier. It was like goals in the knockout round, and we were sitting top. 16 goals in the knockout rounds we scored this season. This is completely different to the shut up shop performances that we've seen under Walter Smith. This is a team who know how to attack. This is a team who know how good they are. And I think we said earlier, mate, we've beat two better teams in Germany. We beat the tournament favourites. We beat a team who beat Man City this season in the Champions League, who scudded Dortmund 4-1 at home. Like, if we play to the best of our ability, then I can't see how we don't win. It's just that, mate. It's the occasion. It's 14 years since we were last in a final. I wasn't even old enough to drink. I was 14-year-old sitting down in Manchester, greeting my eyes out.
When I was 14, I was drinking.
Greeting my eyes at it, mate. It's the whole occasion. It's the build up. It's going with your pals over to our country. Like, the European trips are fantastic. Never mind a European final. It's everything that is a Rangers fan that you hope to experience in your life, and we're getting to do it. And it's just going to be a fantastic occasion, mate. I cannot wait.
What about you, Stuart? Just quickly, we'll get your thoughts on it.
Well, as I said earlier on, I am confident. I'm not confident in what I wish the final was at Ibrox. But yeah, I do think we will win. Big difference to 2008. Massive difference since 2008, because we know how to win now. We know how to win. We've got the team that's good enough to win. What I will say though is Eintracht Frankfurt are the same kind of club as us. They've got some of the most passionate fans in German football, and we're on about taking 100,000 over to Seville. I've got friends in Germany that say that Frankfurt are going to be taking a massive support to Seville as well. But yeah, I do think, no, I'm going to say we will win. I'm not going to say what the score is, because I'll take a last minute offside goal. I will. My heart might not take it, but yeah.
We can't get offside goals, mate.
No, you can.
Oh, you can.
Get offside goals. You can. If you see some of the VAR decisions in England, yeah, you can.
Right, guys, we'll call it a day there. If anybody's wanting my thoughts on it are, I think we've got every chance. We've got the best chance we've ever had of winning this cup. I think that echo both of your statements there. I think that I go into it with a lot of confidence. Don't get me wrong. Come Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to be bricking it. I'm not going to lie.
Buttons.
Yeah, I'm going to be bricking it. But I think that do you know what? I just think it's written in the stars for us this time. I really, really do. And obviously, I'll see all yous over there. I'll be over there as well. I'm flying out, so I'll be
there in spirit.
All right, guys. So thanks very much, and we'll see you after. Take care.